Shalom, shalom, Israel, coming back at you with another lesson. Lord willing, this is edifying. First off, giving all praise, all honor, all glories to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahawashai, Bahashem Rachach Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone and all the teachers out there pushing this word in truth with truth and sincerity. May you be of the elect. Shalom to all the Akim and Aquath out there listening and learning. You Israelites, so-called Negroes, Hispanic, Native, and Seminole Indians, who are the true children of Israel, as well as you speckled bird, Israelite foreigners, the Israelites that look like, act like, and take on the customs of all these heathen nations. So to you, I say shalom, and may you be of the elect. This lesson is brought to you by the Spirit and the power of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahawashai. Yahweh being the true name of our Father, the God of the Bible, the God of the Israelites. Bahashem meaning in the name, and Yahawashai being the only begotten son of Yahweh, who the world ignorantly calls by the name of JC. This dude, Christian Mims, this dude look like he might be between the ages of, 15, 17. Talking folly, man. Trying to come against, the doctrine of the scriptures being the Israelites, right? The Negroes, the Hispanic, Native, and Seminole Indian. He trying to come against it, trying to so-called debunk this information. But so that's what this lesson is. It's basically just going to be, talk and grab some scriptures. And so right off the bat, very first thing we're gonna speak on is Deuteronomy 28 and 68. So let me grab this real quick. First time I read it, I immediately understood, but it ain't for all people. The scriptures tell you that Romans, right? The election have obtained it, but the rest were blinded, right? Only the election can understand the scriptures. Everyone else, they just read it at face value and have no understanding. All right? But this is Deuteronomy 28 and 68, and it reads, "And Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships." All right? So let's break that part down. When it says Yahweh will bring you into Egypt again with ships, all right? It doesn't take a rocket scientist to go back into, so-called African-American history studies. They tell you right then and there who's the ones coming off the slave ships, what's coming to them right after they get off the slave ships, and where they're going. This is all common history in the United States. All right? But anyways, let's get to this word Egypt. All right? Because Deuteronomy 28:68 says, "And Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships." So when people read that, they say what? So they were in Egypt and then they got away from Pharaoh, and then what? They just got an Uber ride and went back to Egypt. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not what that's meaning. That's meaning when it says let's get it real quick. This is Exodus. This is Exodus 20. I'm gonna start at verse 1. And it reads, "And the Most High spake all these words, saying, I am Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai thy power, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage." You see, so when the word Egypt, right, in Hebrew it's Mitzrayim, right, is the double straits, man. It's captivity, bondage, right? So when you read the Deuteronomy 28:68, because again, Exodus 20 verse 2, it says, "I am Yahweh thy power, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage." So Egypt is going into what? Bondage, captivity. You see? So going back to Deuteronomy 28:68, right? If you're going to read that and it's what it's trying to say, it says, "And Yahweh shall bring thee into bondage again with ships." Now again, everybody know who came off the slave ships here in the Americas, right? It says, "Again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee," because he told us, hey, this is where y'all gonna go if y'all keep transgressing. Okay, it says, "Whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again." He said, we're not gonna see our homeland again, all right? "And there, in the land which where we were brought to, which is the Americas, And there you shall be sold unto your enemies, right? Sold unto your enemies. So when this Christian Mims dude talking about some, we just like, we like welcomed ourselves over, like we, you know, uh, offered ourselves to the people to be slaves. No, we didn't offer ourselves. We were stolen and brought here. We didn't offer ourselves. Who the fuck offers themselves to be a slave? Unless you're in that BDSM type of world, right? So it says, wherever I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there you should be sold unto your enemies, your enemies, your enemies, not friends. All right, so we can give a fuck if Derek doesn't make it to the kingdom. He's not our people. He's not our neighbor. When it says love thy neighbor, it's talking about you Israelites, you Negroes, Hispanic, Native, and Seminole Indians. You are the neighbors. You are the people of that land. Everybody outside of that land, outside of those borders, are enemies. They're not friends. All right. There you should be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. Nobody set us free, man. We've been here ever since. Okay, and again, how you know this is us? If you go to Deuteronomy, what is it? Let's go back a couple precepts. This is Deuteronomy 28, and I'll start at verse 47. Deuteronomy 28:47. It says, "Because thou servest not Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai thy power with joyfulness and with gladness of heart for the abundance of all things." So because you don't want to serve Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai and have the best of the best and have the greatest of the greatest, right? Therefore, verse 48, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which Yahweh shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things. Don't we got to go to all these different stores, right? To get the things that we may need. How many of us have 40 acres and a mule that these people promised us? All right. There's a reason why they didn't give it to you, because they knew you would be self-sustaining, that you would no longer lean upon Esau, Edom. Right. But instead, right, he didn't give us those things. Why? Because that's part of the curses. The curses said that we would have to lean on them for the want of all things, all these different nations. All right. And in nakedness and in want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. You see that? Now, let's do this real quick. Chat GBT. According to the term yoke of iron, what time in American history this worn and who wore them? All right, let's see what Chat GPT got to say about the yoke of iron. The phrase yoke of iron comes from the Bible, notably Deuteronomy 28:48 and Jeremiah 28:13 and 14. Matter of fact, let's get that real quick since they brought it up. Because look, man, you can't dispute the Bible. I mean, you can damn sure try, right? But you just can't. The Bible is is you know is undefeated, man. Let's see. What do I want? Oh, the Jeremiah 28. All right, this is Jeremiah, just because they brought it up. All right, this is Jeremiah 28 and 13. 13, and it reads, right? It's titled in the Bible, The Yoke of Iron, right? Verse 13, it says, Go and tell Hananiah, saying, Thus saith Yahweh Shem Shai, Thou hast broken the yokes of wood, but thou shalt make for them yokes of iron. For thus saith Yahweh Shem Shai of hosts, the God of Israel. There's another cut to all the other people in the world, the God of Israel, not all the other nations. He's only the God of the Negroes, the Hispanic, Native, and Seminole Indians, the Israelites of the Bible. For thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the God of Israel, I have put a yoke of iron upon the neck of all these nations, that they may serve Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and they shall serve him. And I have given him the beasts of the field also. So this is going into what? Giving you the description of a yoke of iron, right? Something that was given to slaves to wear, right? Let's see. So it says chattel slavery, 1619 to 1865, the American history period that fit the yokes of iron, enslaved Africans. It wasn't Africans, it was Israelites, right? Enslaved Israelites and their descendants. How the yoke of iron applied. People treated as property for life. Ooh, and that you will be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen. See? People treated as property for life. Forced labor under threat of violence. Don't these people take take a land? Man, let me get it real quick. You know? These are saying, look, these you can't dispute the scriptures, man. That's all I'm trying to say. All right, this is Micah. This is Micah 2, and I'm gonna start at verse 1. It says, Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand. These are the same ones that come up with evil agendas, evil ideas, right? The elites, as it were, right? And then when daylight comes, they go to the office, they have their summit meetings, all right? They get together, boom, set it in motion, right? Creating what? Chaos out of order out of chaos, ordo ab chaos, right? It says, work evil upon their beds when the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand. And this is the point, verse 2. And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. Even a man and his heritage. So going back to this chat GBT, right? It says how the yoke of iron applied. People treated as property for life, forced labor upon the threat of violence, what we just read, families broken apart, right? The scripture said that, right? That the man shall leave his child. The woman have a evil eye towards her husband, right? And then you got the Jim Crow laws, right? The man, the Jake man had to leave the house in order for the woman to get the dainties of the government, right? Government assistance. Okay. No legal rights. Didn't they only say that we were only counted as 2/3 of a vote way back sometime? Therefore, we're not even considered human beings. Physical iron restraints were often used, chains, collars, shackles. Yeah, they did that to us. In fact, there's a very popular song, since this is the holiday of so-called Christmas, Jingle Bells, is what they would, when that song derived from slaves that ran away, and then when they were caught, they had a yoke of iron put across on their neck, and little bells at the end of it, so they can always hear when that where that slave is. You know, like the bells that you put on your cat or your dog, so you know where they at, or the gerbil or whatever, you know, so you know where they at. You can always hear them. Same thing with the slave. If it was a problem slave, they put that yoke of iron with the bells on it. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. So yeah, that's why we don't fuck around and celebrate the things of this world, man. We only deal with the high holy days. But that's the point, man. The point of that yoke of iron. I mean, y'all can keep going with this. You know? Let's see what else we got. post-slavery, forced labor, 1865 to early 1900s. Even after slavery was abolished, oppression continued under new systems. Convict leasing. You have the right to remain silent. When you're a convict, you ain't got no rules. You ain't got no rights. Why you think they have them working 24/7 in prisons, 2 cents an hour? Why you think they can get that free labor out of them? Why you think they keep the prisons full of you jakes? That's easy work, man. Who wore it? Primarily so-called black men, often arrested or on minor or false charges. Damn. Now who was at the hand of these? Who was the slave owners? The Edomites. Revelation 13:10. Let's get that real quick. Right? This is Revelation 13 and 10. And it reads, He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. So the ones who had us in slavery are going to go into slavery. He that killeth with a sword must be killed with a sword. Here's the patience and the faith of the saints. So if you did all that killing, you're going to be killed. Numbers 35 and 33 tell you that. Hit me, you're going to get hit back. You shed blood, the blood is going to get shed back by the blood of him that shed it. This is the patience and the faith of the saints. Because we're patiently waiting for Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai to give the word for Yahweh Shai and Michael to come back and destroy this place. That's our patience. You see? And the faith, because we faithfully believe that Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is not a man that he's going to lie, and that he's going to fulfill all what he said he's going to do. Right? Even for these fucking mockers and scoffers like this Christian Mims. Right? Now, let's go to let's see. Let's keep this here. This is Jeremiah. This is Jeremiah 17 and 4. And it reads, And thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee. He said we will discontinue from our heritage that he gave us. We will no longer be Israelites. We will no longer serve Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai in the right way that we were supposed to. We will no longer be in our land. Right? And thus, and thou, even thyself, shall discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not, because we went from Israel to the Americas, right, into a land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever. Not forever, but for a time, because we messed up. So, I don't know how this Christian Mims have misconstrued this information. It's plain as day who the Israelites are, right? It's not a hard mystery to figure out these days, especially when the truth is out there. You just willingly choose to be ignorant for whatever the case may be, because the information is there. This is This is Proverbs 21 and 16. It says, The man that wandereth out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead. And that's him, That's this kid remaining in the congregation of the dead because he refuses to get the right information. And he's still going to spew this madness, and everybody's going to follow him because he's somebody of the world, and the world loves his own. We're not of the world. That's why the world hates us and despises and don't want to listen. But yeah, that's pretty much the point, man. Just breaking out those couple points. All right. So, hey, Lord willing, this was edifying, giving all praise, all honor, all glories to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rechach, Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elder bishops, the great millstone, all the teachers out there pushing this word in truth, with truth and sincerity. May you be of the elect. Stay prayed up, repent. Abba, Kwam Yasharallah, Shalom.